Complete Landsculpture's mission is to create complete outdoor client experiences, and that's what they do, and they exceed those expectations. They're fanatical about it. They mentioned that main focus, every single one of them did in their presentation. The place oozes with consistency of the brand, the looks, the smells, the way the office and the shop and the grounds are set up. It's so impressive. There were 8 of them that I sat through, and I tell you what, each one is designed to give our attendees a full and complete look into what they do, and each presentation is designed to help you improve your landscaping company, no matter if you do $500,000 a year or $50 million a year. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever the case may be. This is Marty Grunder from Grunder Landscaping Company and the Grow Group with another impactful episode of the Grow Show powered by Steel. I'm in the Steel studios today. I have a shirt and a tie on. I got a coat. I got to go introduce Speaker of the Ohio House of Representatives here in a moment. I try to stay involved as best I can, folks, with causes that affects business. Late night, just got in last night from Dallas, Texas, where we're hosting Grow 2026. And I went through a dry run for Grow. And I want to share with you what we learned from all the wonderful people that did their presentations for Vince and Emily and I. And Chris and Jean, they got up in front of us and did their presentations. I want to share with you what I learned. But first, a reminder, you can get the latest edition of The Grow Show delivered to your phone, tablet, or computer by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts, or watch us on YouTube for an enhanced learning experience. The Grow Show is the greatest thing since my wife Lisa's Cocoa Crisp Christmas cookies. I've included the recipe in the show notes. They flat out rock, folks. Give me a couple of those with a glass of milk, or at night, a small amount of Cabernet wine. I can't believe I'm saying that. I never even drank wine until 3 years ago, and I don't drink very much, but there's something about the Cocoa Crisp cookies and the Cabernet. Oh my goodness. Shout out to Chris Joyce. Try them, folks. You'll like them. Thank you, Lisa Grunder. Now on to the Grow Show powered by Steel. Well, folks, I tell you what, everything really is bigger in Dallas. Dallas, Texas is just a cool town. We're hosting Grow 2026 there. The host hotel is the Hyatt Regency in downtown Dallas, and we're touring Gene and Chris's Complete Landsculpture. You can probably imagine the amount of preparation that goes into hosting an event to this magnitude. There'll be over 1,000 landscape pros with us. Those of you who have attended, you know, if you haven't, let me just say this, it's quite an undertaking. You put 1,000 plus success-minded landscape pros in the room with us, and we want to make sure we deliver the best grow ever. That's always the goal. And no offense to my pal Jason Cromley at Hidden Creek, who's listening today, I'm sure, last year's host to Grow, which was the best one we've ever done. Gene Freeman and Chris Strempek from Complete Landsculpture, they are so dialed in. It's 2 months out. This is going to be the best Grow we've ever done. I can't wait for you to be with us. And I had a chance to sit through all the rehearsals of each of the presentations. There were 8 of them that I sat through. It took 4 hours to go through all of them. And I tell you what, each one is designed to give our attendees a full and complete look into what they do. And each presentation is designed to help you improve your landscaping company, no matter if you do $500,000 a year or $50 million a year. I can't share with you everything they shared, as I only have so much time here. And quite frankly, I want you to attend Grow, okay? But I do want to share with you some of the things I learned. I want to share them to you in the framework of our 4 Ps that Vince and I teach: platform, people, process, and profits. You know what that is. Platform, succinctly said, that's where we go on. That's vision, mission, core values. People, that's your team. Process, those are systems and processes. Those systems and processes enable ordinary people to do extraordinary things. And then profits. The idea is, if you got your vision, your mission set up, you got the right team put together, you put them in the right processes, profit is a byproduct of those things done well. So in the platform area, let's start out with that. I'm not surprised that a company like Complete Landsculpture has their team so dialed in on their vision, mission, and core values. That was very obvious as we went through each presentation. They are all aware of Complete Landsculpture's focus. Their mission is to create complete outdoor client experiences, and that's what they do, and they exceed those expectations. They're fanatical about it. They mentioned that main focus, every single one of them did in their presentation. The cohesiveness of their presentations, which you will see it Grow, was very impressive. And this was just a first dry run on them, folks. The place oozes with consistency of the brand, the looks, the smells, the way the office and the shop and the grounds are set up. It's so impressive. Vince often says, as goes the leader, so goes the team. Gene and Chris, the owners, are very focused, very driven, very dedicated, and they care about their people. And that shows up when you listen to every single one of them talk. When they came through and did these presentations, it was amazing. You know, I've talked to you often about how your external customer service, the service that you deliver to your team, will never exceed your internal customer service. When I see a company, any company that offers good service, I know that the team is well managed. The team knows that people care about them. And that's just a byproduct of taking care of your team. And I can't wait, for example, for you to hear from Jorge, Julie, and Chris from the landscape department about how they get large, beautiful projects done for very demanding clients. And I also know you'll love hearing from and learning from Roby, Gene's right-hand man, Jeremy, and Esteban on how the maintenance department works. Maintenance is their main focus of growth right now. Every single of the 8 presentations, even HR, mentioned on how that was a focus. So that was a huge takeaway for me and something I'm going to steal. We have maintenance as a focus here at Grunder Landscaping, and we're certainly pushing that narrative in our peer groups, but it's something we all should be doing. I was listening to people that weren't at the top of the org chart talking about the value of doing maintenance and the reoccurring revenue and how that brings more value to the business. You're going to find a lot of ways that you can do this too, how you can get your team on the same page from their inside at Grow. It was fantastic. So what's your platform? All right. Does your team know and understand where you're going and how you're going to get there? We all could work on that. You're going to learn a lot from them about platform at Grow. Let's move on to people. Ladies and gentlemen, there is an intense focus on people at Complete Landsculpture. You can see it and feel it in the way everyone treats each other. I saw a lot of positive words. I saw positive body language. I watched each of the presenters do their presentations in front of us, which, folks, is not easy. All right. I'm a professional speaker. I've given over 1,000 paid presentations. It's very easy for me to get. I'm going to introduce a political figure here in a couple hours to a couple hundred people. I don't care. It doesn't bother me a bit. But for people that don't do that, that's tough. These people stood up there with poise, and it was cool as Chris and Gene, the owners, repeatedly told them, good job. Love what you're saying. You know what you're doing. One of the presenters, I'm not going to tell you which one, he said, I'm really nervous up here. I'm sweating like a pig. I don't know if I can do this. And Chris said, you can do this. And Gene said, yes, you can do this. You're terrific. Look how far you've come here. We can't wait to share the information. You could almost see the young man like picking his head up from this to this, for those of you that are watching us today on the YouTube edition of The Grow Show. Nellie from Human Resources has a firm grip on recruiting, the H-2B program, and how you tend to 279 team members, she said, which, to be blunt, the way you tend to 279 team members really isn't any different in all reality, ladies and gentlemen, than to how you tend to 20 or 30 or 60 team members. Training is a huge part of their plans. I heard some great ways that they're doing that. They're investigating and onboarding with Greenius to move that into their firm. People make a difference at Complete Landsculptures, folks. I saw it everywhere. It had been a few years since I had been there. They had added on to the building a little bit with some second-story offices. Really cool layout, not ostentatious or pretentious, but just a very comfortable, warm, inviting culture in terms of what you see. But then when you interact with all the team, you really see it. Folks, we can all learn better ways to attain, train, and retain our people. I know I sure can. Process. Complete Landsculpture is a process-rich company. You're going to see that at Grow. And also, I'm sure you can understand, you can't do $30 million worth of landscape work, have several locations, and not have a process. Santosh, John, and Robert from the commercial department are going to blow you away with what they're doing. They have a 45-minute session on the main stage that goes deeply into how they build relationships with their clients and keep them. 80% of their work is repeat business. Amazing. In fact, Gene and Santosh, when Vince and I were up there, they took us to the Dallas Arboretum and they showed us 3 projects they're working on and how excited they were. Absolutely beautiful work, folks, but relationships that they're leveraging that are funded by private donations. Who do you think the private donors are going to have as a landscaper shortly too? Yes, Complete Landsculpture. I'm sure the way these guys leverage relationships matter at all levels at Complete Landsculpture. The site analysis that they do to make sure that they perform well was very insightful. The look that they do and how they do things. For example, they do a shade plan. They actually lay the property out with the trees and they do a shade plan. Now, you might be sitting there saying, well, of course, Marty, you got to do a shade plan. Well, I don't know. I've been doing this a long time and I've never seen us do a shade plan. So I already have that down on my notes to look at that because that can dramatically affect how a plant could perform. The prior experience with plants and things they talked about that didn't grow, and the time they take to ask questions and find out the colors and the preferences to really get dialed in and separate themselves from their competition has handling these projects at a great level of detail. They communicate well with their clients, giving them a weekly State of the Union email with full reports. These were amazing, detailed reports, emails with photos of how the job's going. And it's no different over in commercial maintenance, where we learned from Scott and Branson, who will share with you at Grow about how they're growing maintenance. They talked about what associations to get involved with and which ones to stay away from. They really helped me with one of those. They talked about site audits, which is something that we're doing here at Grunder Landscaping, but they just talked about how they did it with a little bit of a flair. They do a complete budget, but then they put the budget into the months that they think their client could spend, and they give them the budget. I mean, what a brilliant idea that is, because they said many of their property managers struggle with that. So we try to make it easy on them. And then Scott said, we try to partner with our clients to make them look good in terms of their property, but make them look good to their boss as well. I really like the meetings that they do. They take 5 to 7 clients to lunch and they ask them how they're doing. They ask for feedback. They said it goes over well because it's 5 to 7 clients that are in the similar industry, real estate, and they like talking with each other. And he said, we know we're good and we don't have anything to hide. So we have a conversation with them and we talk to them about what we can do better. And he said, they're wonderful. We're going to start doing that. I'm going to go implement that. They're leveraging technology in seemingly just the right amount of way, kind of like Goldilocks, not too much, but not none of it. Like they're focused on it. And the personal relationships, even though they're using technology, matter at all levels. Scott said, listen, if one of our good clients has a dart league and they want to sponsor, we're going to sponsor the dart league and we're going to go throw darts. And that's just kind of how they are. Like they go to where their clients are and they work with them. You're going to see it clear as day that relationships matter. They've got great processes. When you come to Grow, you're going to see that. And then finally, profits. Probably the most impactful presentation that I sat through was Xavier's. And he handles procurement for Complete Landsculpture. He didn't look at his slides and he didn't look at his notes. He just talked to us. And Gene made the comment that, well, we can tell you know what you're doing. You didn't even look at your notes. And Xavier said, I don't have to look at them. This is what I do all day. He's got an incredible handle on one of the things I see a lot of landscaping companies struggle with, and that's procurement. It's one of those things. It's not sexy. We just don't do it well. We waste a lot of money on it. We let our people go to Lowe's or Home Depot to pick up things when we should have a system in place that has SiteOne delivering those things right before we need it. This whole process is a debacle, folks, for most companies. How are you handling procurement right now? Do you think it's a strength or a weakness? I thought we did procurement well until Seth came in here, our president, and he showed me ways we could use technology and put in a better system. I learned our system was terrible. Talk about a mess that we had here, folks. We had 5 people involved at $4 million in revenue. Now we have 2 people involved at $18 million in revenue, and we got it humming by leveraging technology and a more commonsensical approach. For example, we don't drive around and pick up plants anymore. They get delivered. There's all kinds of things. Xavier has really dug in at Complete Landsculptures. He's a bright man. He has over 40 years experience in the landscaping industry. I know he can help you with this. I can't wait to have you see what he's doing and make a difference there at your own company with procurement. I know he's going to help you, and I know Grow can help you with procurement, among other things. So what are you waiting for? All right. Get your team to Grow. Have your team pay very close attention to Xavier's session when we go over to Complete Landsculpture for the tour the morning of the 11th. That tour is going to be the highlight of Grow, folks. Chris Strempek and Gene Freeman are 2 humble men on a mission. They have an amazing operation that any landscape pro can learn from. I just shared a fraction of what we will all learn from them and the over 48 breakout sessions that we're putting on, the networking, the dinners, the conversations you will have. And then we really look into this, taking some time away from your business for 3 days in a great town, Dallas, with lots to do. Stay back, go to the Arboretum, catch a Mavericks game, catch a hockey game, not to mention on what I plan on teaching from main stage and sharing you. And I know you're going to be dialed in, folks, when you leave Grow. Super excited to have you join us February 10th, 11th, and 12th. Sign up today before we sell out. Last year we sold out. There's a possibility we're going to do that again this year, although we have a lot bigger venue. Flights into Dallas on American Airlines and Southwest Air. They're pretty affordable, folks. And I want you to listen up. The room block at the Hyatt, which is where you want to stay because that's where all the action is, that's close to selling out as well, too. So don't complain to us if you have to stay a couple blocks away in another hotel because you dilly-dallied around and didn't set your plans up. The amount of procrastination that landscapers do is amazing, folks, and it costs you a fortune. Just sign up, get it on the calendar, get there, and learn how to get your platform, your people, your process, and your profits up to a whole new level. Reward your team with an incredible, fun learning experience that has no match. You're going to see how two men have grown a little landscaping company into something special. And I bet, like me, you will get a firm hug from Chris and Jean because relationships matter to them at all levels. I can't wait for you to experience what we have planned. I'm so proud of what Vince and Emily have put together. I saw that yesterday, and it's going to be a great thing. Okay, folks, that's going to do it for this week's edition of The Grow Show, powered by Steel. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to The Grow Show. And if you can, give it a rating or share a comment. That helps more success-minded landscape professionals find us. And if you really want to help us, take out your phone right now and text this episode to any landscape pro you know and help them grow their business. Thanks for joining us this week on The Grow Show, powered by Steel. We'll talk to you next week.
Join Marty Grunder and the Grow team for the annual event for landscape pros. Grow 2026 will be held on February 10th through 12th, 2026 in Dallas, Texas, and feature a behind-the-scenes tour of Complete Landsculpture alongside breakout sessions diving deeper into the topics we cover each week on The Grow Show.